Welcome to True Stories Night. On this show, we take real stories as told on Classic Moments with Mo and see how they apply to our lives today. On tonight's episode, we're talking about culture made modern with our African fabrics. Now, one of the things that sets Africans apart is the way we use our traditional fabrics. As the world evolves, we evolve with it. And our fabrics and fashion are not left behind. On our classic episode, we spoke to Chief Nike Okundaye and found out the deeper meanings behind the things we wear.
I'm going to start with your Ankara.
Okay.
Ankara comes from Manchester and shipped to Ghana, which we call Accra. So when the Manchester ship, by then our headquarters is in Ghana. So the cloth coming from Holland, everything is shipped. All this Ankara is shipped to Ghana. So the people who are ruling us, the British, they now say this cloth, we bring it from Ankara, and that is the name of Ankara today. Actually, the name comes from Ghana, but it's from Manchester.
Right.
Before we start printing our own Ankara.
With me now is Temi Kudaibo of Temi Kuds, who designs items with African fabrics. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So you're one of the, I guess, new generation of people who are doing funky things with our traditional fabrics. Yeah. So how did you get into this, and why did you decide that you wanted to mix a little bit of culture with where we're going, modern-wise, fashion-wise, rather?
Well, I actually started with making clothes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but it was so much fun, but I wanted more. So I kind of stumbled on this. Bags, accessories, shoes, and I really loved it. So I went to train for it, I learned it, and I started making it. Yeah.
When you say you went to train for it, are there places here that you can actually go and train, and how long was the process? And are there lots of people who are now doing this?
Right now, I think there are more people getting into it because I try to update myself with the trends and everything. So I see more people doing stuff now. Unlike when I started, that was about 2 years ago. Okay. So there are places you can learn here in Lagos. I learned in Lagos actually. So then I just kind of developed myself. I learned the basics, then started going with that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So what kind of stories do you want to tell with the kind of fabrics that you use, the items that you make? What do you want the stories to be when they've left you and they've gone to wherever they go?
Yes. The thing about African inspired items is it can be anything. Yeah. So I like it when I see people take items and they just make it their own. It can be an accessory, it can be a purse, it can be slippers. It's just you being able to take something that is African and just make it yours. So that's just the story I want people to tell. This is my story, this is my bag, this is my purse, this is my outfit. Just that. Okay.
What do you think about the way that we now use sort of our own culture and our own fabrics to fuse it with the modern?
I think it's a very good thing. And I think it's actually a way to preserve our own culture to an extent, because the way I see things, I feel people they're embracing Western cultures more. Okay. So if there's a chance to just put a bit of it's supposed to be all of it, but let's just try with bits and pieces, and then before we know it, hopefully we'll be able to get everything back with...
Well, when you say get everything back, I will do a little bit of devil's advocate here. Okay. So we are obviously in the 21st century. Everything is super fast, super modern, super this. Is it not better, in a way, for us to fuse the old and the new, as opposed to maybe hoping to just get the old back? Because, I mean, if we're trying to get the old back, to be honest, we're all going to be doing tie wrapper and scarf, and not necessarily,
get everything back in the sense that we can make these things ourselves. Okay. With our own materials, with our own fabrics. You don't have to import things or get a designer, somebody from somewhere. Why don't we just get it from here and just embrace our own people and stuff? That's just it.
Okay, that's a little bit of patriotism coming through. Like,
I'm trying.
All Africa, yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the items that you brought and that you make. You said you make you make accessories, you make footwear, but I know you have some bags with us today. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that you. How do you even decide what to make, and how do you decide which fabrics to use when you're making them?
Most times I listen to what my customers or my customers say, and most of the fabrics that I use are based on the demand. Because I use a lot of fabrics, and when people want, okay, I want this particular one, I want this particular one more, I'm like, okay, people actually like this particular, because this is Ghana Kente fabric.
Yeah, this is the Kente.
And people like it.
Okay.
It's something that when they see, everybody's attracted to it, and they just fall
very
in love
African.
with it. Yes. So I kind of go with that flow in making some of my items. So that's just what leads me or makes me choose designs. But for the backpacks, I actually I work with strength. I want my bags to be durable and very strong, so I just put materials together and just work with that and try to give people quality products for their money. Yeah. So
okay, cool.
That's just it.
Okay, let's see the other, because that's the backpack, and then we also have the purse, which is very nice. Yes. This is nice. So you do a lot of your work, or most of it, on social media. How has social media kind of helped, you know, with, for example, business costs and exporting, because social media is so very accessible. So tell us a little bit about how it has helped your business.
Social media has helped, like really, it has been very good to me. I've done a lot of marketing through most of my social media accounts. That's actually the only advertising that I do right now. So it's been good. I have a lot of feedback from it. People are really supportive. People are really nice, and I really appreciate that. And it's been good so far. It's been good.
So business is thriving?
Yes. You can always get better though.
Well, now I have with me Cynthia Atule-Okochu of the award-winning premium textile company Adire Lounge. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay, so I mentioned Ankara earlier, but obviously you do work with Adire, which is a really beautiful fabric, which is something that is very cultural. How did the passion kind of grip you, and how did you decide that you wanted to make it modern in your own way?
After school, I served in Abeokuta for 1 year. Then I learned it there. After service, I came to Lagos. I worked in a bank for 2 years. Then I resigned and left. Before then, I used to go to Abeokuta to buy and just resell. So people were always complaining that it was strong, the fabrics were hard, and that it used to run. And I said, okay, so I learned, then there should be other fabrics we should be able to use to make these prints, not just the normal cotton that every other person knows about. Somebody might just want a t-shirt, they want a scarf for a gift, they want socks, they want chiffon, something flowy. So I started making my own prints. I had resigned then. I had resigned from work. I was doing another business, but it wasn't going very well. So I just decided to go back to the Adire that I was doing. Then I created an Instagram page, Adire Lounge, and that's it.
Wow. So the process, let's go through the process. Now, I know that making Adire itself is very intensive. Yes, so tell me about how, since it's not that strong fabric and the, you know, maybe those dyes or whatever that are being used in the traditional way, tell me how your process kind of differs, how it's kind of a modernized way to make the Adire.
Okay, for us, what we actually do is we try, because we do not want to take from the fact that it's still a traditional fabric. So we tried as much as possible to use same process. Okay. But what we just did was we got different fabrics, then we worked on our own designs. So you actually don't see them in the open market, that one. And then secondly, we use very good quality dyes. Okay. And we also wash our fabric very well so they do not run at all. Okay. So the colors don't run.
And how has the reception been ever since you started? I mean, you've been in it now a couple of years. How have you kept the momentum going?
Okay, when I just started, I had contacted some designers and I had spoken to them and told them about creating prints for their own customized prints, making their own customized prints, and we were able to do that. Lagos Fashion and Design Week, we've worked with some designers and that we made prints for. And I also, maybe because our designs are very different and we were able to make them on different other fabrics. So apart from social media, then customer referrals too. that has really helped us.
So social media is a very strong tool.
Yes, very, very strong one.
Are you strictly on social media, or do you do a little bit of other outside advertising?
Till recently, we started attending fairs.
Okay.
But it just used to be social media. Then this year we had our website.
That's good. So I know we have some of the fabrics and some of the things that you've done. I noticed that, yes, as you said, the fabrics are now modern. You're doing different things. Tell us about some of the things that you have, like with us now, and the prints and stuff.
Like this one, we called it, is our Pinky Adire.
Pinky.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's our Pinky Adire design, and is made with batik. It has two techniques actually. The batik, which is this motif, that's what we call batik.
Okay.
We use a stamp on hot candle wax to create this pattern. And then we did a tie and dye option on it with this pink. So it actually has two designs. And these are cotton fabric.
Okay.
It's actually very soft.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay.
Okay. Then that's that.
Yeah, this reminds me of the kind of old
this
normal
one called Adire Leko.
Adire Leko.
Okay. Yes, it's created with a cassava starch.
Oh, really?
Yes, so you use cassava starch with your hand to create designs.
So this is actually hand done?
Yes, with a feather. A chicken
that
feather.
Seems, how long does it take? Because I'd be like, listen, I'm done already.
For these, 5 years take between 2 to 3 days, because the weather is very good. It needs to dry properly before we dye them.
So this is it's still quite labor intensive.
Yes, it's labor intensive.
Okay. And well, I see that this is a cotton t-shirt. So
yes,
you've done
it's a t-shirt. This batik was, but for this kind of design, we call it the vintage design. We use we use hand and a foam on candle wax to create all these patterns.
Okay. So my last question would be, when your fabrics, when your prints, when you see them out in the world, you know, this kind of traditional mixed with modern, what kind of stories do you want them to tell as they go? Like when people see it, what do you want them to see? What do you want them to understand about our culture? What do you want them to feel?
Okay, for my fabrics, when starting from production, design concept to production and to the final consumer wearing it, what I always have at the back of my mind is that I want the clients to always take their culture to wherever they're going to. Like whatever destination, if I'm traveling out, I want people to be able to know that I'm Nigerian and whatever I'm wearing shows I'm Nigerian without even me opening my mouth or without me saying anything. For that, I think we'll be able to do that, because I've had clients who call me to tell me, oh, thank you so much, thank you so much. I've had other people who are not Nigerians and they see it and they really want, because the prints actually tell the story. So they actually want to tell, they actually want us, people actually see them and tell them, oh, this is so beautiful, tell me what it means. And I just started this series on Instagram where I tell people that, but we'll talk about the fabrics, talk about designs, and on our website, each fabric and design on it has its own story. And so we educate our clients about that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lamdi.
All right. Well, we're going to be right back after this break. Please stay with us. Just as Cynthia does in Nigeria, people like designer Busayo NYC, whose self-named label based in New York has been worn by celebrities and everyday people alike. Another fashion entrepreneur bringing innovation to local fabrics and exporting it to some success is Tolulope Adebukola with her brand Bling Shiki. We caught up with her as she prepped for a fashion show in London.
Bling Shiki, of course, was called from bling bling and dan shiki. The vision was pretty much to replace traditional embroidery on African clothes with rhinestone detailing. For people outside of Nigeria to embrace this style was pretty easy, because I think once they saw the product and they liked it, it didn't now matter where it came from. It just stands out. So the reception has been good. It's been actually overwhelming. We're Africans. We do not forget our cultural backgrounds, our cultural heritage. So I thought to myself, how do I make this same African fashion contemporary? So that, I create a kind of pop culture around it. And that was a very important decision to make. Even the buyers for Selfridges, the buyers for Macy's, they said that they're tired of producing in China. I thought that was a good way to hit that market, get Africa out there. Look at the way our music has You can go to, for example, a pub in Houston, and you'd hear music by Nigerian artists. Why don't you go to a store like Selfridges and find clothes from Nigerian designers? Celebrities who have won Blink Shikis are Akon, Dari Atalade, Faust the Bad Guy. The story I'm trying to create with Blink Shiki is the Afro chic culture. So it's more like our own pop culture, African pop culture. I want those clothes to take people back to African culture. And not just that, it now becomes like an attitude. It becomes like a lifestyle for them. Oh, I'm wearing a Blink Shiki. It would literally mean I'm representing African. I want them to see that, okay, with Africa, there's culture and there's fashion, and we can create style from African history.